Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into this Sports by the Book here on a Tuesday morning. I'm Jeff Parles alongside undefeated yesterday on the official best bets, Alex White.
Good day. Yeah, 4-0 or 5-0 if you took both the first half and the full game under, but good day.
That's I think we'll take that 100 times out of 100. The potential dogs, if you round robin at, you were over 500 or 3-2.
Yeah.
Still ended up in good shape yesterday on that. And Kenny White's here as well.
Hey, good morning. I'm going to count you as 5-0. You have it on the board.
Thank you.
No, the official bets are there, undefeated for Alex yesterday.
If you lost and the game went over in the first 5 in the game, everyone would say you lost 2 bets.
That's
so
true.
You need to take it when you get it. So you had 5-0 yesterday. Nice.
Totals
Yes.
on that one. We got lucky in Colorado, but thank you, Colorado Rockies, for being as bad as you are at pitching. So that's
yeah. What you would want to know?
I went 1-0. Yeah, I won my Phillies team total over. That's all that matters. Got there barely. Needed Schwarber to hit one about 9,000 miles in the 9th inning, but he did. So,
well, I didn't think about going that direction. I wish I would have listened to the show or talked to you. I laid 2.5 runs.
That got there too.
But it would have been much better to bet. I would have, if I would have known, I would have gone over the team total.
I will tell you, Kenny, we'll do this in baseball a little bit later, and I went through this with Alex yesterday. Oh, until the books adjust the team totals for the opponents against the Rockies in Denver properly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 6.5, but it was plus money on the over 6.5 with the Phillies yesterday. So I'm just going to keep doing it until we start seeing 7.5s and 8.5. Like, once we see 8.5s, obviously, but that pitching staff is more than bad enough that 8.5s might be good enough. By the way, Philly's team total today, 6.5, but it's minus 130 because Antonio Senzatella is pitching for Colorado. Still probably good, but we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, let's get to it, guys. We had no playoffs last night. We had a nice chill night. And hopefully everyone enjoyed a nice beverage, enjoying the night off. And now we get to the nitty-gritty. We start in hockey. And we're going to be giving our predictions for both of the conference finals here today. We'll, of course, game one in the West. We'll break down in virtue tomorrow. But we begin in the Eastern Conference final. A rematch of 2 years ago. Florida's, of course, been there 3 straight years now with their appearance here, winning it the last 2 years against Carolina 2 years ago and then against the Rangers a year ago. Now it's game one in Raleigh. Of course, Carolina at home ice 2 years ago as well. Did not matter. Florida was, remember, the last team in the postseason in the East 2 years ago and made it to the Cup final before VGK beat them in 5. Game one tonight, Alex. Minus 125 on the Canes. Total 5.5. Series price is the reverse of that, where Florida is a minus 125 favorite and Carolina's plus 105.
So starting with that game right there, 5.5, I made this 5 under, minus 120. So I love the under. I trust both goalies in this. It is very interesting because if you look back at all the times these two have played each other in the last 2 years, Frederik Andersen has only played against Florida one time, and that was in 2024. So that does worry me a little bit here, but I also love the revenge factor for Carolina. If you remember, they were swept in that series by Florida, but the first 2 games did go to overtime, the first one 4 overtimes, and Carolina just fell short in the 2 at home, and then Carolina fell short in the 2 at home, and then Florida took the 2 going back home to Florida. So love the revenge there. I like them in game one. And I think this is going to be a home sweet home series.
You know, Jeff, you talked about Florida and the season they had last year and teams to repeat. It's extremely hard to do. And sooner or later, you got to figure it's got to catch up with Carolina. Now they're it's got to catch up to Florida. Now they're up against a Carolina team that plays such suffocating defense and is one of the top shots on goal team in hockey. They're very accurate. They get those shots. And I think there's value in Carolina in this series because of those two reasons. I do like Alex's under, talking about suffocating defense. Florida played some suffocating defense against Toronto.
Yeah.
That was quite impressive what they did against Toronto. Not only their offense, but their defense. So I think you got 2 really good defensive teams here.
5.5 is minus 135 tonight on the under. So the market is in full agreement, loves it under. The best number I even see juice-wise is minus 128. So you're laying a nice little price on that under tonight. First period, if you want to take it under, is under 1.5, minus 125. So that's even juiced a little bit further. So, Kenny, going back to your point, a point that I've made, and part of the reason that I picked against Florida in the first 2 rounds is I was concerned about, again, how much hockey they played over the last now 3 years, where this is 3 consecutive, at a bare minimum, Eastern Conference final appearances. It could be 3 straight Cup final appearances with a series win if they beat Carolina here. I just go back to what Alex and you and I have talked about this all hockey season long, where this is so strange, where we thought the market had overvalued Carolina for a good chunk of the season, and now all of a sudden it looks undervalued. I thought Carolina was going to come a small favorite in this series. Instead, Florida's now minus 130 here at the South Point and up at the Rampart, plus 110 on Carolina. I'm staying off of this from a betting perspective because I just don't like the price on Florida. I am picking the Panthers to win this series. I expect all these series in the NHL and the NBA to be long ones. I only have 1 series not going 7. This is one of these 4, one of the 4 series I do have going 7. So Florida in 7 at 5-1. It's funny, Carolina is plus 475 and 7, even though they're underdogs in the series. That makes a lot of sense. But I think this series goes 7. I'll lean to Florida, but if you tell me Carolina wins because of the home ice, won't be surprised. I might just take both of those. And if I were to play it, just take both of them in 7, or just find an exact 7-game prop, see what pays better, more so than anything.
I don't hate that at all. I definitely don't think this will be easy. And I think the overcorrection is the experience, been there, done that, right? And the Panthers have proven themselves. Carolina has not. And this is their 7th straight year in the playoffs. And the last 2 times they made it to the finals or the conference finals, they were swept. So, of course, 2 years ago against Florida, and then in 2019 against Boston. I really like that going into this, too. It was the same head coach, and I think he's going to have his team ready in this one. I think your analysis with maybe it catches up to Florida, I think it happens here in this round. And the other thing is, if Carolina and the Capitals wouldn't have matched up in round 2 and they would have matched up here, I probably still would have picked the Caps, got a little carried away with Alex Ovechkin and that run they went on. But I would have had Carolina going all the way and this far. So I'm going to pick Carolina to come out of this series.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I like your ratings that you have Carolina the better team. You had Carolina the better team in the Washington series.
Yep.
However, the numbers were so much higher than what you had, and you still had Carolina the best team in hockey, but we felt the numbers were too high. We were betting on Washington. We lost some bets in that series, but you were not against Florida. So to me, your numbers were right on against Florida, and they might have been too low against Washington. So if you're going to upgrade and you upgrade higher, that just makes Carolina that much better of a team. And knowing the defense they play and the stats that you threw out, the shots on goal per game, usually you don't find that in one team. You find they're good at one or the other. Seems to me like Carolina is good on both ends of the ice.
The other thing is a lot of people are using the narrative that, Carolina hasn't really been tested or played at anyone with the Devils in Washington. But thinking about it, I don't think Toronto really touched the top 5 the whole season. And I know that Washington definitely did. So I think Washington and Toronto are pretty evenly rated. I think Carolina beat Washington in 5 games, and now it looks like that was just really easy for them. But I think that's just how well they played.
Florida also, again, like when you see a team win the Cup final, you're going to give a little bit more. And even though Carolina's defense has held up very, very nicely, there's still a trust issue in net for a lot of people with Carolina. And fair or not, until they get over the hump, it's kind of the same thing with Bobrovsky, right? Like there is always wow, Florida got the back-to-back Cup finals, one with Bobrovsky, and then ended up winning one. And it's a totally different narrative around what Sergei Bobrovsky is at this point. I know he was a great regular season goaltender, but it was kind of the same things we've been saying about Connor Hellebuck over the last few weeks, even though it wasn't Hellebuck's fault that they lost that series to Dallas. He played very well, except for one game in that series against Dallas.
Is there an advantage, Jeff, that Toronto comes off a grueling 7-game series? Florida.
It might be for game 1.
Yeah.
Might be for game 1, short rest, only one day off for Florida, and they traveled to Raleigh.
They were at Toronto and now had to fly to Raleigh.
Not a huge flight, but it's something. No, 2.5 and change.
It's moving from one hotel to another hotel to another city to another time zone. They were in Miami on Friday. They're in Toronto on Saturday, Sunday. They got to leave on Monday and they got to fly to Carolina. They're in 3 different cities in 5 days. And you just won a big game 7. So you feel like you got some cushion here. I think they're the tired and rusted team.
That's the hard part, though.
For game 1, again, I understand why the markets bet Carolina in game 1. It makes sense just because of all those reasons. But going a little bit against what we were saying of will the Florida Panthers run out of gas? Having all that experience helps you in a scenario like this on a quick turnaround.
Yeah, you know how to manage it.
Yeah, and we also saw they had a lot of rest going into game 1 against Toronto and played probably the worst game they played in the postseason since the elimination game against Vegas in game 5 of the Cup final 2 years ago.
I'm going to go back further, though, because remember these series go home, road, home. Florida was on the 14th, Wednesday, less than a week ago.
Yeah.
They were in Toronto. They fly back to Miami. They play another game in Miami. They get shut out. They go back to Toronto 2 days later. Now they go to Carolina. Yep. So it's so much travel in 6 days.
Kenny, it sounds like you like Carolina tonight.
I really do. I like Carolina without knowing that, but when I look at that, I the only thing that I worry about, Florida dominated the 2 early season games.
Sure.
6-3 and 6-0. But Carolina got their revenge in Florida, the 3rd game, the latest one they played. So Florida knows, hey, we're up against a good team. They beat us at our place, so that will get their attention. But I think they could be a little tired for this game tonight.
That's what I'm telling you, though. It was Spencer Martin in net those first 2 games. It was not Frederick Anderson.
Oh, well, yeah. No, I knew
So
that
it was their
they didn't have
third
Anderson till
string.
late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big question mark with Anderson because he hasn't been healthy for a full season or through a full playoff postseason run. So we'll see what we get from him. But I do think he's a really good goalie. And looking at his numbers and what he has done so far in this playoffs.
Official pick for the series, guys?
Yes. Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina I took him plus a dime and laid $1.20 in game 1.
All right, I'll lone wolf it. I'll take Florida for the first time this postseason. So Carolina's probably good in this series. But I'm going to wait. And I actually like Carolina tonight. We'll flip around and would wait to take a plus price. But I kind of like what I said earlier. Find an exact 7-game prop or see if Carolina in 7 and Florida in 7, both of them separately, pay a little better than an exact 7-game series. Just see what pays the best, more so than anything. All right, real quick, we'll break down the full game 1 on Edmonton and Dallas. We just want to get this on record before the series begins. Oilers are minus 25 here at the South Point to win this series without home ice against Dallas. It's as high as minus 135 in the market. So if you like Edmonton, come to the South Point. It's the best price currently in the market. We saw this series in the Western Conference Finals a year ago. Edmonton 1-6. Alex, I think we see a complete repeat of what we saw a year ago. And the fact, and I'm just curious, the only thing that scares me a little bit with Edmonton, when your goaltender and your defense is in such a rhythm, like Skinner and the Edmonton defense was in game 4 and game 5, the time off scares me a little bit, especially with a guy that has been as inconsistent in his career as Stuart Skinner. Obviously, you stay with him now with how well he's played in game 4, game 5, and honestly, he played well enough in game 3. It just 2 spectacular goals were the difference in the end for Vegas. But in the end, as well as Rantanen has played, as good as Ottinger is, McDavid's the best player on the ice whenever he's on the ice. And if Skinner's going to play like he did at the end of that Vegas series, I just think it's a very hard sell on Dallas here. I like Edmonton in this series.
I will not be shocked if we have a rematch from last year, and I will not be disappointed either. But I am going against the grain, and I am going with a complete new matchup here. I like both teams in game 1. They both have home ice, so I like Carolina, and I like Dallas. I like the additions that they made to this roster to be able to get over this hump and to get into the finals. I think that shows up here against Edmonton.
I'm sticking with the philosophy. Edmonton under on the road and over at home. They played 3 regular season games at Dallas, 4-1 Stars. Game goes under. At Edmonton, Oilers 5-4, Stars 4-3. Both games go over the total. Regular season, it just continues here. I'm going to go under in game 1.
Anything do you want to pick who's going to come out of that series, though?
I lean to Dallas, I think, maybe with that revenge factor of losing last year's championship. So it's going to be tough, though. I don't think there's a value either way. I think there's a good betting market for the book.
Right on it now, minus 30 down on Edmonton to win this series. So that just moved as we were talking about it right now here at the South Point. All right, let's go to the NBA. Game 1 tonight in Oklahoma City. Quick turnaround for the Thunder after really just running Denver out of the building. Nuggets just ran out of gas. The Gordon injury really played a big role in that one, and Thunder advance. T-Wolves have been waiting almost a week since knocking Golden State out. It's 7 here in game 1 tonight with a total of 217.5. Series price, OKC is minus 350. You're pushing $3 on Minnesota here, Alex.
You want me to go?
You can go whichever way you want to go.
Okay, I might be alone on this one, but I mean, what Dwayne said yesterday really stuck with me, and the fact that the T-Wolves didn't have to play against Steph Curry, have fresh legs, are ready for this one. I also like the fact that been there, done that. Last year, they made it to this spot, of course, lost to Dallas, but they beat the Nuggets to get here, and then they were kind of at a gas. I'm a little concerned with the Thunder. I think they were a fantastic, great regular season team. I think Minnesota knows what it takes to get to the next level. I'm going to pick the T-Wolves for an upset in this series.
You know, I didn't do my complete work on this game. This really caught me off guard that this is moved in front of Indiana and New York. You know, I expected that to be the next series, but I have Indiana, the highest rated team in basketball, and I was fading Minnesota with Golden State along
You mean
with,
Oklahoma City?
I was fading.
Yeah.
No, I have Oklahoma
City's-
City, the highest rated team by far. Was fading Minnesota with Golden State with Curry. Then when Curry went out, it was a problem, and they were fortunate to get by Golden State. I think if Curry's in the series all 7 games or the entire series, it goes 7 games, and I think Golden State beats them because of their experience. This OKC team, and it's amazing how a difference one guy can make. Aaron Gordon is the best defensive player on Denver. Without him in the lineup, they could not stop OKC, and I think that's the way this offense is. Minnesota's better defensively, but I don't think they have the firepower offensively that OKC has. So I didn't look at the numbers, but I'm going to be backing OKC as long as the number's right.
So OKC's minus 350 for the series, 7 tonight against the T-Wolves. This series just comes down to the fact that I trust the better full roster in this series that happens to have home court. And Kenny, you've said it. Oklahoma City had been clearly the best team in the NBA all year. I never bought Cleveland. Obviously, correctly so with how it ended. I know they were injured, but still, to lose that series as in 5 still was jarring. And Jason Tatum got hurt. And it's simple as that for Boston. And even if Tatum didn't get hurt, they might have still lost that series to the Knicks. But Oklahoma City's been the best. Arguably, they've been the best team in the NBA the last 2 years. They had the best record in the NBA last year. They just fell in the conference semifinals to Dallas. Luka and company KO'd them. I just have a very hard time going to what Kenny says. If Anthony Edwards is going to have to play at a level where he is the best player in this series by margin in 5 of the 7 games in order for Minnesota to win this series, at least in my eyes. Can he do it for 3 of 7? Oh, absolutely. That's why I have the series going 7 games. But when it's all said and done, Oklahoma City's long enough defensively, and I am concerned about the offense behind Edwards. Kenny and I are simpatico here. I like OKC. I'm not laying minus 350, not doing that. But if Minnesota takes game 1 and that price comes down enough, might be juicy enough on Oklahoma City on that series price. And you're lone wolfing it on the Wolves here.
That's right. I do like Julius Randle, and I think he might be the factor here. It's taken a little while for them to get their rhythm together, but. And
I'll just say this with Oklahoma City. With Minnesota. I brought this point up earlier or last week. We're talking about a complete loser franchise, historically speaking, with the Timberwolves. Before last year, they had only appeared in 1 Western Conference final, and that was our trivia question yesterday with Kevin Garnett. KG was the best player in the NBA that year, and they got beat up pretty badly by the Lakers in that West Final. This team's in the Western Conference Finals back-to-back years. This is unprecedented for that franchise. And for Edwards, who's, by the way, those are conference finals odds for MVP that we have on our screen right now. Anthony Edwards is plus 360 at FanDuel to be the Western Conference MVP. If you like Minnesota, you're betting Anthony Edwards to win the conference final MVP, because I don't see a path, unless if Julius Randle does something truly spectacular, I don't see a path for any other Timberwolf to win that award other than Edwards. That's a better price than what's offered on the T-Wolves. I would just take it on Edwards at plus 360 to win the conference final MVP. All right, real quick on the other series. Knicks-Pacers, game 1 tomorrow. Pacers have been off a week. Knicks will end up being off 5 days. Kind of crazy the way that they shuffled the schedule of these finals after the West, but whatever. Minus 60 in the series on the Knicks. Alex, I go back to what I said to Dwayne yesterday. I don't know what the hell to expect in this series. If you told me the Knicks won the series in 7 hard-fought games, all right, sure. If the Pacers win 5, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by that too with how well Indiana's played in this postseason. I'm picking the Knicks in 7 with absolutely no confidence because in the end, home court does matter in this series to me. So Knicks in 7, I would not even consider laying $1.60 in this series. That is way too steep of a price to me on what seems to be a dead even series.
I'm curious where your numbers come, but where I'm leaning right now is with New York. And I thought the Pacers were undervalued going into those first two series. I think your original value shows up here, your power rating. I think the Knicks are the better team, and they're by far the better defense here. I think the Pacers have been very fortunate offensively and had some pretty easy matchups coming into this with a lot of injuries. So I like the grittiness of the Knicks. I hope I don't jinx it for all of our friends that are Knicks fans, but I think they're going to make it to the finals.
I didn't make it quite so high. I made the Knicks 2.5 and 228 in game one. I bet the game over. I went over 223.5. This Pacer team has been fast and furious all year. They spread the court out and they play 94 feet. I've grown to fall in love with this team watching them play. Of all the teams I've watched, I love Oklahoma City's Thunder's talent. I feel like the Pacers are like overachievers, but the system that they run is fun to watch. It really is. And they've got some good players on this team. They've got some scorers. So they've got some veterans, and I think they have the overall quickness. So I'm going to be betting the Pacers here. I already took the Pacers plus 125 to win the East before they ended the last series, and I got to check what the price is now, but maybe
plus 40 now.
Plus 40. I can get 40.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take 40 plus 40 on the Pacers here to win this series. I think they beat the Knicks.
Real quick before we go to baseball, well, more on this series tomorrow. It starts up in game one tomorrow in MSG, so we'll further break that down. We'll see how that total moves on this one. WNBA for the first time this year. 2 games tonight. They're both pretty reasonable size numbers. We'll start in Connecticut first. The Aces, who lost opening day on ring ceremony day in Brooklyn against the Liberty. Sun, again, just a consistent force in the WNBA playoffs over the last half decade. Totally new roster. They lost opening night at home to the last few years, a lowly Mystics team. Alex, this is 14 and 167. It's just really just a matter of what your tolerance is of laying big numbers on the road, right?
Yeah, and it should be a bounce back spot because the Aces really kind of got embarrassed by the Liberty in that first game. But I think that number's just right. If anything, a little bit high even. We've got it 12 on the road against the Sun, but it's the total I'm looking at here at 167. Aces is kind of slowing down tempo-wise, so actually both of our games are leaning to the under. So under that 167.
The WNBA this year is going to be an interesting season. New team with Golden State. I'm sure you guys have talked about this. And the next year they bring in Toronto into the mix, which will be cool. But I was very interested to see there's so many new coaches.
Yes.
So many new teams have a new coach.
Yes.
And I was really shocked to see Connecticut just clean house.
Yep.
We are going to start from scratch. This is one of the weaker teams in the WNBA. The Vegas team coming off a loss, they can name the score in this. If they want to win by 30, they can win by 30 here. I think the safer play, though, is under. I think Connecticut's going to struggle to score. The Vegas team is just too good defensively. And on the road, Vegas doesn't score like they do at home. If this was in Vegas, I would say over. Vegas and over parlay correlated. But here on the road, I think this could be a Vegas and under, but I think the under is the better play.
You bring it up, Kenny, again, almost more than half the league has a new coach this year. Of course, Connecticut, Stephanie White now coaching Indiana. And like you said, just a total rebuild for a franchise that came oh so close to winning the title multiple times over the last 5 years. Just the top four is so good now. They didn't think they could compete with the rest of the top four. Just decided to, all right, we're going to start over and see where we're at in 2-3 years.
What I really love about this league right now is I'm a proponent of the women's sports, and Caitlin Clark put college basketball really on the map a couple years ago. The nice thing about it is she's the real deal. She might be the best player in the WNBA right now after only 1 year experience. That's how good she is. She's the Steph Curry of the WNBA. Indiana is going to be in it to win it unto the end because they bring in the right coach. They have the right nucleus around her, and she can play. I think she's as good as Asia Wilson right now. So I don't know what the MVP odds are.
Clark's the favorite.
Huh?
Clark's the favorite.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, if I were the books, I'd make her the favorite too.
Well, Asia Wilson's been around and done that before and won it.
I understand that, but from the books,
is she really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
From the book's perspective,
I guess I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know. Then,
I mean, I look from the book's perspective, I get it. Hey, you know where the action's going to be. It's all going to be on her.
Yeah.
So but she's plus 130 right now. Collier and Wilson are plus 250, and then Stewie's 25-1.
Now I got to look in a different direction, I guess, for an MVP, because I'm going to take a look at Asia Wilson again because she can do so many things. But Clark's going to put up tremendous numbers this year.
Or
Collier makes a lot of sense. Right?
She does.
She's hungry. They lost.
She's too
a
unselfish.
Brutal way.
She's too unselfish.
Oh, okay.
She really is.
So the other game tonight, real quick, Fever are in action tonight. Yep. They're 7 against Atlanta at home. Fever just decimated an overmatched Sky team on Saturday. That controversy, that was all nonsense to me. But Alex, you were talking about Atlanta going into the year. They had totally new mix with that team. Brittany Griner comes over after playing the first decade plus of her career in Phoenix. I wonder just how long it takes for this dream team to gel. Not a good spot here tonight against Indiana, who, as Kenny said, and I agree, Indiana, to me, is more than capable of winning the title, even though with a younger roster, they're as good as anybody in this league, at least to me.
Wow. Okay, we've got the Fever 13 here at home against the Dream, but I do like the Dream. I like the additions that they made. I think Brittany Griner will be great for them. Ryan Howard, kind of a slow start already in that first game, and a lot depends on her and goes through her when it comes to this Dream team. So I would expect it taking a few games for them to start meshing. 173, we have 161. So that is another under, but I wouldn't want to jump there yet with the Fever. So if anything, it would be to lay the 7 with Indiana. Caitlin Clark, of course, triple-double in her first game this year.
My question, why did the number go down? I don't understand why it went down, because I think they should be a double-digit favorite easily. So as long as there's no injuries, I'm going to lay the 7 with Indiana in this spot. The total, I think they did a good job on the total, and then the bettors bet it up already. I'm going to pass. I think the total's just a little too high, but I think the side is just right for Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana is getting Sophie Cunningham back tonight after missing opening day with an ankle injury. Didn't matter with how they really put it on the Sky, and Jordan Canada is still out will get reevaluated at the end of this week. So we'll get it. Again, good player in Canada. Yeah. We'll see when she is able to come back on the Atlanta side. All right, we are going to take a quick break. We'll baseball when we get back. Trivia question will be in the bottom line as well on a Tuesday. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone. And if you're craving a taste of Italy, Come experience delicious Italian cuisine and the attentive service at Don Vito's. Our culinary team starts with the freshest ingredients and transforms them into traditional favorites. And don't forget Italian desserts. Don Vito's. Savor the taste of Italy. Finally, if sushi is more your style, join us at the popular Zenshin Asian restaurant and sushi bar, where we're serving up the freshest sashimi, nigiri, and sushi rolls. And beyond the sushi, an exciting contemporary Asian cuisine menu, plus a variety of specialty drinks, Japanese and domestic beer, wine, and sake. Balance your hunger with Zenshin.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Trivia question is up. JR's trying to guess without the question even up. We might have to DQ you today, JR. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. Can't be having that here today. That is live on the bottom. All right. Baseball. We begin in Miami. See, we would probably be able to get all 15 on the docket. By the way, Cleveland and Minnesota yesterday had a suspension. They'll pick it up from where the game got suspended. So no betting lines on that first game of what will technically be two final scores here today. So just at least throwing that out there to everybody. All right, Miami and Chicago first. Jameson Taillon, Ryan Weathers, your pitching matchup down in South Beach. Guys, help me out with this price on this game where the Cubs are only minus 135. I know Miami came from behind in the bottom of the ninth to win 8-7 yesterday, but there's no home field in Miami for the Marlins. There's not a pitching advantage for the Fish either. Help me out here. Minus 135 seems extraordinarily cheap on the Cubs here.
I'm with you. I made it much higher than that. I'm kind of shocked. The Cubs have had the better season, or the better team, overall team. Very interesting to me that this price is that low. I guess there's some hope that Ryan Weathers, being a left-hander, can shut this Cub team down. But I think the Cubs also getting in Happ back today. That's going to be a big bonus to them. So I'm really shocked that this number's low. I'm on the Cubs. I'm betting them.
Well, the Cubs have struggled as of late.
Well, the Cubs still, even though the Cubs still hit everybody though. That's the one thing, Alex, and just with Ken, just piggybacking off what Kenny said, I'm a little bit surprised. Like, those splits are not egregious righty to lefty. Like, the Cubs are better against right-handed pitching, but it's not a precipitous dip, right?
They have the highest. No, it's not. They have the highest run differential in the National League. 10 runs higher than the Dodgers do.
Yeah, no,
the Dodgers are $1.80 in this game automatically over Miami at minimum.
Any plays on this, or are you staying off?
Well, it's just looking at their last 7 offensively. I mean, 223 batting average, OBP is 279 and 76 WRC plus. So really have struggled, kind of just going through, one of those slumps. And even before the loss yesterday, I believe they lost the series before. I don't think they were swept. They are 6-4 still in their last 10, so not terrible. But I'm just going to stay away. Current form, I'm just a little bit nervous about that one.
Going to Pittsburgh next, Pirates and the Reds. Falter and Martinez, your pitching matchup. Alex got there in that first 5 under, even though that got off to a very dicey start at PNC. Reds go on to win 7-1 with a bombardment late. Pittsburgh's offense is just a pathetic mess this year, to put it politely, and that was not polite at all. Plus 130 on Falter, total 8, minus 145, Alex, on Martinez and the Reds.
This is what the Reds do, right? I think you got to ride with this. They're on a nice 5-game winning streak, feeling good. Offense has been good. Tried to almost go against them yesterday. I do think they have a slight pitching advantage, but I'm not too concerned with that. I like the winning streak, and I like what I've seen from them offensively. So it would be Reds or pass for me.
All the check marks for me are on Cincinnati. The winning streak, the Pirates losing streak. I have a higher offensive rating, higher defense, higher starting pitcher, bullpen. With my adjustment with the streaks, may be a little over adjustment because you're using both. But I think this game, again, this is almost reminds me of this Cub game we just talked about. I have Cincinnati $1.97, so I'm laying the $1.35.
Yeah, that is a discount in comparison to the number that you made it.
A lot of it has to do with the streak. I added 45 cents. So, if there was no streaks going, I'd have the Reds $1.52, but still higher than what the books have.
Going to Washington next, Spencer Strider comes off the IL today, second start of the year. His first start went right back on the IL after that start in Toronto. He's a minus 180 favorite against Mitchell Parker and the Nats today, plus 160 on Washington. Nats, of course, over the weekend swept Baltimore out of Camden Yards. These two teams also, Atlanta and Washington, played last week down in Cobb County. Braves took 2 out of 3 in that one, Kenny.
Yeah, Strider, I don't know if he's got a clause in his contract that he doesn't have to go down to the minors at all, because he didn't throw any pitch in the minor leagues. He threw a simulated game. I got to expect that he's not going to have his best stuff. He's going to get some strikeouts because he is explosive, but on the road here, I worry about what you're going to get out of him and how deep he goes in this game. I think the price is a little too high. I lean to the Nationals here because of that fact. I say beware of Strider and what you get out of him this outing.
Curious if I should just go full game then, because I was looking at the Braves team total. It is 4.5. I like that. I like how the Braves are hitting, looking at their numbers. 251 average in the last 7, 318. OBP slugging 433 and a 115 WRC plus. I think they're going to get to Mitchell Parker. Looking at his last few starts, 4 earned runs against the Braves. So these guys just faced each other. The Cardinals gave up 4 and the Reds gave up 5 on just 4 hits. So I definitely think the Braves are going to keep their offense going.
It's really a shame that 251 is a batting average is above average in this day and age of baseball. As a team, over the last 7 days, that's above average what teams are hitting.
It's the sport now.
Yeah,
that's the sport now. Going to Denver next. Phillies and Rockies. Phillies are minus 285 on the road. It just shows how good Colorado is at a hearty 8-39 now. Rockies actually had the lead late into the game last night at Coors, and then in shocking fashion, their bullpen blew up, and look at the final, 9-3. It wasn't even really close. You know what I'm doing in this game, guys. I'm taking the Phillies team total over 6.5. Antonio Sanzatella has essentially been the same as rocket fuel this year. Home runs, hard contact, the whole bunch. He's not a major league pitcher at this point. Sanzatella, again, just showing how bad the Rockies are. This is Sanzatella's 10th start coming up now. He's thrown 43 innings. He's given up 39 earned runs. He's given up, Kenny, you'll enjoy this, 74 hits in 43 2/3 innings. That is as bad as you can get against a Philly offense that has started to find itself after a little bit of a struggle there at the end of April. I think this is a romp for Philly. I'm just going to take the team total over. If you want to take the full game over, I can't really blame you because the Phillies might score 11 on their own here tonight.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. I wouldn't do that here because I don't think that the Rockies are going to find much success against Luzardo. I think he has pitched really well. So using the Phillies bullpen yesterday, but really it just worked out for the game. I like your angle. I think Phillies either, minus the 2.5 like you did yesterday, or Phillies team total over.
And you've got 2 atrocious bullpens. The Philly bullpen has gone downhill.
Yeah, and no Alvarado for the next 80 games.
Right, he's suspended 60 games. Senzatella, he's not a big league pitcher right now, and Philadelphia should bang him around. The scary part yesterday, laying the 2.5 was the weather wasn't indicative for hitters.
Right.
It was more in favor of and today's is kind of the same. It's 55, 60 degrees, wind blowing left or right. It will help left-handed hitters, which does help the Phillies lineup against a righty. So I guess I just talked myself into it. So, my numbers don't say it. I made them 206. I add 20 cents for the 4-game winning streak. I'm at 226, but I feel like it's just let's fade the Rockies as long as we can. They're just
100%.
just fade them. Forget about what the number are. Sometimes you have to do that, and you have to, you don't overbet. You still make, I'm going to make a 1% bet on it again, but I'm going to bet the Phillies. I'm also going to bet 1% on that over on that team total because this lineup should crush Cincinnati.
We go to LA next. Dodgers lose again yesterday, 9-5 in a game that went zooming over against the Diamondbacks. Dodgers is struggling right now. Of course, got swept by the Angels over the weekend. Another bad pitching performance from a starter for the Dodgers. They at least will send their ace, Yoshi Yamamoto, to the mound tonight. He's a $2.40 favorite. $2 on the take back on Ryan Nelson and the D-backs tonight, Alex. Total 9.5. But with these pitchers, I know these offenses are still high end. That feels a little steep in a Yamamoto game, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I like what I've seen from the Diamondbacks. Was on them yesterday against the Dodgers. But I think this is a great spot for the Dodgers to get right here with their ace on the mound. If I was going to play it, I would probably just lay that run line there, -1.5.
The 4-game losing streak keeps me up anything there. I'm actually leaning towards Arizona. They're, a team that I went in on at the beginning of the year. They're starting to, I think, pick it up a little bit, winning 6 of their last 4, beating the Dodgers here. They're only 3 out right now. Dodgers are 29-19, 10 games over 500. They're on a pace of about 95, 96 wins. They're going to go well under their win total, what they're showing right now. They could get hot and make a run, but I think there's a better chance Arizona makes that run because they started the season so slowly. So I hate to go against Yamamoto. He's just such a good pitcher. But I think the price is a little too high. I'm going to back the Diamondbacks.
A little worried about Ryan Nelson getting the start here, too, against the Dodgers.
A little bit. But, I've seen this. He's a Vegas kid, went to basic high school. I've watched him closely. And, he hasn't been off to a good start. It's almost like Fetty. And Jeff's a Fetty, fading Fetty. But you can't anymore. Fetty's on fire. He's in fuego. He's pitching really good.
It wasn't Jeff.
I don't dislike Eric Fetty. I just feel like Alex bet Eric Fetty every single game last year. That's all it was.
No, that's true. But it was Keith Lyle that wrote it in the chat.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Sorry,
Jeff.
I
knew somebody said it here. But Ryan Nelson's got
Keith
really
said
good
something
stuff.
obnoxious, shocking.
Yeah, his kid's a competitor, and he's far better. When you look at numbers and you go, Antonio Senzatella's ERA is 6.39. He's shown no improvement, and he hasn't had a good year in a couple of years because he's been injured, and so he hasn't been around. But Nelson, you go back and look at some things that he's done, and he's still a really young guy. He's way better than his 5.13 ERA that he's sporting right now. And I don't know if it was one bad game or what, but this kid's got good stuff, and he can compete, and he knows he's up against one of the best. I think it's going to be a 2-1 game going into the 6th, 7th inning. So it might even be an underplay, but I hate to say that because you got 2 great offenses, so it's hard to play it under. But I think Arizona's in this, and they're in it late.
Bob Custer likes the over in the Dodgers game. So there you go for our friend Bob. Going to Tampa next. Steinbrenner Field. It's the Stros. It's the Rays. Littell and Walter, your pitching matchup. Total of 9. -125 in this one. And Kenny, I just want to ask you this real quick because we know that they front-loaded the Tampa Bay schedule with home games because of how bad the weather is in Florida with no roof for the summer, as we know. It rains every day. It's just a matter of when that rain comes. It's going to be 91 degrees in Tampa today for most of the day. Still going to be in the mid to high 80s at first pitch. This feels like a launching pad game, doesn't it, with the way that weather is now in Tampa?
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. That type of weather, the ball carries much, much better. Hot and humid. I like it over. I agree with you. And Walter's not making his big league start. I think he had a major league. He may be making his big league start. I think he's had some big league experience. I back guys when they're first time ever in the show and they're on the mound. They have no idea what they're getting into, and they just pitch an amazing game.
Real quick, Brandon Walter's last appearance in the big leagues came in 2003.
Yeah, I think
so. It's been a year plus since he's been in the majors.
He's been there before. He's been there before. He knows what he's getting into, and he's got pressure. He's got pressure.
What did I say?
2003.
Oh, 2023. Sorry. I think you knew what I meant.
I knew what you meant.
I think you knew what I
didn't
meant.
even catch it.
You know what? 2003? Yeah. Josh Beckett on the bump.
That would be a record.
Yeah, there we go. Victor Zambrano.
22 years,
right?
22 years in between.
Actually, what a Rays Astros game in 03 would have been Esteban Loaiza against Roy Oswalt, something like that, right? But there you go, minus 125. Alex, any plays on this one?
I'm kind of leaning to the Rays here. I like the way Littell has looked, especially as of late. I mean, he hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs in his last 5 or 6 starts. Astros got one yesterday, won that one 4-3, but it was a tight game down to the end. So, yeah, I'm leaning to the home team here at minus 125.
We go to New York next. The Yankees are coming off the series win against the Mets. Welcome Texas in. It's Warren, it's Patrick Corbin. And I know Patrick Corbin has been significantly better this year than he's been over the last few years. I really wish that it was anyone but Corbin today for the Rangers, because this feels like a perfect letdown spot for the Yankees, who, even if they won't admit it, that had a lot of extra juice because of everything that happened over the offseason with Soto going cross town. That Subway Series always had juice, but it had more than ever over the weekend. I'm just scared because it's Corbin, Alex. If it was anyone else in that rotation for Texas, I'd be on the Rangers today, but I'm going to have to stay off because I am concerned of Corbin in that ballpark just getting at some point. It's going to be regression in the mean, and it will hit fast at Yankee Stadium.
This is a really tough one to handicap because, I mean, you don't want to get too caught up in letdowns and look-aheads and things like that for the pros and baseball. It's such a long season, but I agree with you. I do think that series against the Mets really took a lot out of this Yankees team. Corbin has pitched here before and pitched against the Yankees and done pretty well. So I have nothing. I think it's a little steep, so it's a lean to the Rangers, but nothing for me to get involved in.
And these are two really good offensive teams, and that it's a good. I believe in letdowns. I believe in big series, and I believe in that happens. They did have a day off. That may not be any good for them, but they should swing the bats. Patrick Corbin has pitched well this year. He has been lucky. Batting average balls in play. The last 4 years, his batting average balls in play has been well over 300. This year, just 278, and he has an 86% left on base ratio. His walk to strikeout ratio is barely over 2-1. I think he could get lit up here very easily. And Warren hasn't pitched that great, so I like the game over. I think the weather's not the greatest, but it's okay. It's not blowing in 20 miles an hour from center field. It's not going to be an effect either way. But I think the offenses dominate these two pitchers.
Gone a little against you there, down to 8.5, which I kind of like it at that number too.
Who did
Go to Minnesota next. It's Paddock and Williams. Again, they're going to resume the game that got suspended yesterday first, and this will go about 25 minutes after that first game ends. So we don't know what the heck the bullpen usage is going to be going into this game, which makes this a little bit of a dicey handicap for me here. Minus 115 on Paddock, even on Jared Williams and the guards. Total of 7. Alex, this is probably a stay off for me. Maybe, if anything, I know the weather, Kenny, the weather report I saw earlier isn't great in Minnesota. It's going to be in the 40s and the wind's going to be blowing in. So that keeps me off betting this total, even though these pitchers would normally be inducive to an over.
Yeah, I saw that the weather a little chilly there in Minneapolis. Yeah. So let me look at my number here on this game. I was just about to bet they want to give me 8.5 on that Yankee total. I'm all in. The key number's 9. A 4-4 tie gets you there. So, I had a 7.5 on the total. Made Paddock 109 in this spot. 4-game losing streak by the Guardians, though. 129. I guess it depends on what happens in game 1 too for me. If Minnesota wins it, they've just been on a great run over the last 2.5 weeks. I would maybe back Minnesota again.
I think if they do win game 1, that is the way to go. Win 13 in a row. Brewers take 1. Now trying to get back on that winning side. And the Guardians just are not playing well, coming off of that sweep from the Reds. So I think good go with the hotter team there.
I said at the beginning of the year before when we talked about these, I wasn't a big believer in this Guardian team. I just thought it was a very weak team. The bullpen was their strength. That's their only strength. And when you look at them, this is a 25-21 team, but yet they've been outscored by 20 runs on the season. They're in the negative. They should have a losing record. So far, they've been a little lucky to even be 25-21.
Sorry, I was going to ask about another team, but we'll move on when we get there.
White Sox and Mariners real quick here. Ligamina and Wilson, your pitching matchup, -90 on the M's on the road at Chicago here, Alex.
I got nothing. Good win by the Mariners yesterday. Pretty easy if you did lay that run line for them. That is the only way I would want to look here, especially current form and the way that Mariners are hitting again, especially on the road. So, but I don't really like that. Lost yesterday with the Tigers, going with the opener, so I'm going to stay off of it.
You know, the Tigers are right now the team I'm rooting for. Still the only future ticket I have. Scooble.
Sorry, I got you.
I'm sorry.
You skipped down.
We're on the Mariners.
Yeah, I know.
Right
I heard you say Tigers. So we're on the Mariners. Okay, sorry. Yeah, and I don't know who the opener is.
Legamina is the opener here today for Seattle.
Yeah, the streaks just alone. I put in an average opener for their pitching, and I made it $1.57. But with 45-cent adjustment for the winning streaks, I mean, it's again kind of just you fade Colorado, you might as well just continue to fade the White Sox as they go bad. They could get worse.
Going to the A's next. A's and Angels. How about the Angels? Hot right now, winning again last night after the sweep of the Dodgers. This might be a good day to go against them. No, Kyle Hendricks has struggled mightily to begin this season. Hoglund will go for the A's, -165 in West Sacramento tonight on the home team, Alex.
A's are starting to struggle a little bit now, come into this one losing 6 in a row. Pretty impressive, though. We had Ginn yesterday and Hoglund today. If anything, I looked to the under. I just think that 10.5 is a little high. Maybe go first 5 or even try and just look at the Angels under. But with the streaks, I think that number is just right here with the Athletics at home.
Yeah, baseball is just such a streaky game, and that's why I love using these streaks. Kyle Hendricks did not start the year well. He had 3 out of 5 bad outings, 3 really well below average. But then he comes up with a really good start against the Detroit Tigers at home. Below average start against Baltimore, but then he comes up with another decent start against the Padres. This guy's a veteran, doesn't throw hard, just hits his spots. I'm going to back him today. I don't know why he's getting such a big price for a team who's on a good streak. And, the pressure starts to set in, one way or another, and you lose 6 in a row. As the Athletics have done right now, that's getting some pressure on them.
Yeah, and the Angels are hitting again.
This Angel team makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
They make no sense. They make no sense. I thought that the regression to the mean finally hit. It was going to be this mediocrity, but look, the whole AL is stacked together, as we've talked about, unless if you're the Orioles or the White Sox at this point. Even the A's and the Angels, who are 4 games under, are only 6 behind the Mariners right now in the AL West. All right, the interleague. We go to Boston first. Red Sox beat the Mets 3-1 last night. Mets only averaging 2 runs a game over their last 7. So offense really struggling at the moment. It's Holmes, it's Buehler. I'm a little bit surprised by the pricing here on this one. I don't think the Mets should be -135, Alex, but I'm going to stay out of this one completely with a total of 8.5.
I think that number is just right. Nothing I really want to jump in on. Don't really know what to expect from Buehler, so can't really give a good handicap there. But I mean, I do like this Reds offense as of late, so nothing for me in this one.
Yeah, I made it 10. The weather isn't the greatest. 54 degrees, winds blowing in from, right field, which really doesn't affect playing. When you got the monster 300 feet away from you, a wind in from right field at 10 miles an hour is not going to affect anything. So I think both teams swing it here. Buehler's still trying to work his way back from that Tommy John surgery, and wasn't right last year. He did close out the World Series, but I still got just question marks that he's very inconsistent, and now coming back off the injured list again. I just don't think he'll be sharp.
So over for you. And that
Yeah, over for me.
8.5 total on that one at Fenway. We go to Toronto next. There's no pitcher yet for the Blue Jays. Dylan Cease goes for San Diego. Well, minus 120 on the Padres against the to-be-determined starter for the Blue Jays. When you just take the Padres here, right? Or we have to wait to see who actually goes for Toronto.
I don't hate it at all, especially Dylan Cease is definitely getting better, getting more comfortable in each of his starts. The last one against the Angels, he had 10 strikeouts, just 2 earned runs, 5 hits in 6 2/3. So I think we're starting to see him, mid-season form. So I like the Padres here. I will say they do have a little bit of a losing streak coming into this one as well. They were swept by the Giants. So I don't know. We have to factor that in too. But also, they got to get right at some point too. And this first road game might be it.
Yeah, I don't know why Chris Bassett is scratched or if they just moved him to tomorrow. But that's a big drop off. I still had the Padres $1.24 with Bassett on the mound. They have no one near that. If they go with an opener, I would definitely have to make about a 40-cent adjustment. Even with a 3-game losing streak, I'd still back the Padres.
Yeah, he's a little weird on that. If it was Bassett, it'd probably be a stay off. But right now, at least what I'm seeing, he's scratched. So we'll see if he happens to be going. Then yeah, I think that all that pricing's about right. But you know what else? At some point, Dylan Cease got to turn that corner, right? Got to fully turn that corner back into the guy he's been. It would make a lot of sense. All right, well, now looking for corners to be turned positively next. The Brewers hosting the Orioles, just showing how bad things are for Baltimore right now. Baltimore's only a game and a half ahead of the White Sox right now for the worst record in the American League. That's not what you want to be doing for a team that had championship aspirations coming into the year. It's Aiken and Henderson. Not the greatest of pitching matchups here in Milwaukee. Minus 35 on the Brew Crew. 8.5 your total for this one, Alex.
7 in a row they lose coming into this one, the Oilers, but the Brewers aren't much better. They have won 2 in a row, but they were struggling before those 2 wins. So, they are the lesser of 2 evils here. I would go with the Brewers if you made me bet it. And I like what I've seen from Henderson in his 2 starts. Did pretty well against the Athletics, went 6 innings, just 3 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts in that one. And then the Cleveland as well, 7 strikeouts to just 1 walk. So, yeah, I would trust Henderson in this start.
I'm just fading the Orioles team that's not playing well. They have problems, distractions somewhere there, clubhouse problems maybe. May take to fire a manager to wake this team up and get them back on track. And the Oriole manager may be the next guy to go. But I'll be on. I'm worried about Henderson a little bit. He threw that great start. And then I said, that's a guy that is first start. I was on him in that one, but then the second one, you think he's going to regress. But it was a 4-week break in between that. He got sent back down to the minors, called back up. He makes another, a decent start here, and maybe you get a third good start out of him in this spot.
Kenny, firing the interim manager would be pretty strong through 2 games, right? Hyde,
let go
over the weekend. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Well,
yeah. So now
they were 2 days ahead of me.
Yeah. Mike Elias at some point I think is going to be the next one to go because, and there's just so much young talent on offense on this team, and their pitching has been an abomination this year, and they didn't adjust after last year where their offense choked in the 2-game series against the Royals, and need to at least get the pitching all up to standard, and hasn't been. 15-31.
So they've lost. They fired Hyde, and now
they've lost 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
2 in a row since firing.
Well, I'm glad I didn't know because I like to back teams with the new manager.
Yeah, they got.
No bump.
They have owned the Beltway series over the last few years, and the Orioles this year lost 5 of 6 to Washington, getting beat by the Brewers, who up until Sunday had been struggling as well. It is brutal with the O's right now, and might not be any way out at this point. Again, they can take aspiration from their Beltway mates of the 2019 Nats, who got off to 14 games under 500 in the middle of May, won the World Series. But there's been nothing of signs of positivity with the Orioles so far this year. We get to Tariq Skubal. Yeah, go ahead.
Really quick on that one. Do you think going first 5 is better with the Brewers, trusting Henderson, minus 130?
I think the Brewers have the far better bullpen.
Okay.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Kenny on that one.
Okay.
So I would go full game.
Going to St. Louis next, it's Tariq Skubal for the Tigers, Eric Fetty for the Cards. Cardinals are just really playing out of their minds over the last 3 weeks. 6 games over 500 now, only a game behind the Cubs. Alex, we've talked about it. They're as good as anyone at home. They're 16-6, including an 11-4 win last night against the Tigers at Busch Stadium. Look, it's Skubal. He's the best pitcher in the American League, arguably the best pitcher in baseball. That is a big price on the road against a really good home team. That's the only thing I'm a little bit scared about if I'm backing the Tigers here today.
I agree. I think that is way too big of a price here. I'm not going to worry about that though. I'm going to trust Fetty to at least start strong here at home and go under in the first 5. It is 4. It's actually juiced to the over -115. So 4 under -105 for me in this one. But I would definitely lean to the Cardinals and getting that plus price. Tigers, you talked about it yesterday, having the best record in the league. Maybe got a little big-headed because they came out very flat yesterday for the first game against the Cards.
I'm with you. I'm under first 5. Skubal's just been unhittable. He's right now the best in the game, I think. His stuff just plays well in the big leagues. Explosive fastball, great off-speed stuff, and big strikeout guy. And then Eric Fetty, as I mentioned, looking at what Fetty's done last 2 starts, he threw a shutout at Washington, and then surprise, that was one of his old teams, the Washington Nationals. But at Philadelphia, another decent start, 5 2/3, 3 hits, no runs. Was a little lucky, very fortunate at that game, but still coming off back-to-back really good outings. Hasn't allowed an earned run. He knows who he's up against. He's got to be ready. I think he will be tonight, and I think he'll be up to task. I think it's a 2-1 game, hopefully even less than that after 5.
We go to San Francisco to wrap up the baseball card here today. Royals took game 1 of that series in San Fran a night ago. It'll be Michael Lorenzen, Hayden Birdsong, your pitching matchup tonight at Oracle. Giants -40, total of 8 in this one.
Strong lean to the Royals there, plus 125. I like the fact that they did take game 1, so already feeling good coming into this series. I like Lorenzen a lot more than I like Birdsong. I mean, Birdsong's decent, but he is like the 5th guy in their rotation. So pitching advantage with the Royals, feeling good, got that first win. Neither of them really hitting all too well. Pretty easy under yesterday, actually. It wasn't until extra innings that they even put any runs on the board. So might have to look at that too. It might be a good under as well.
They had 2 pretty good pitchers going.
Yeah, that's true.
Going in that one yesterday. The weather has been right for hitters in this series. It just doesn't seem to get there. And tonight, again, checking the weather, 62 degrees, but the wind out to center field going to be around 15 miles an hour. It will diminish as the game goes along, but a little bit of help there. But I looking at this game, I agree with you. I like Kansas City. I think they're playing good baseball. They just get back one of their better players, India, just came back. That helps this offense a little bit. So I give Lorenzen the bid over Birdsong. I'll take the dog.
Will you look at his splits really quick? Because now really looking into it, I thought it was just a bad start at Houston, but I mean, he is
Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah, it looks like he's struggled more on the road than in Kansas City. That's for sure.
I worry more about younger guys with splits. The veterans know what to do and how to take care of business. Sometimes it is just, that fact and who you played and when you played them. So at Tampa, outside, he pitched a great game. In that stadium, we're talking about a great hitter's ballpark, and he went 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run in that game on the road. The losses were at Detroit, at Cleveland, at Houston. So
Milwaukee, yeah.
I'm not worried about him pitching on the road this one.
He also pitched that ridiculous solo homer jamming game against Baltimore, where the Royals hit their most amount of home runs they've ever hit in a game. He got bailed out in that one. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll get the whiteboard set up. We'll get the trivia answer when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Sports by the book?
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite at extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Welcome back in at Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Happy to be with you as always. Trivia question while we're wrapping up, getting our whiteboards fully ready. Today's trivia question was an auto racing one. And which racing driver, the only one to ever have won a championship in both the Indy Car Series and the NASCAR Cup Series, was born on this date in 1971. It, of course, was Tony Stewart. Is the correct answer to that. JR got it right, even though I think JR might deserve a DQ for guessing a completely different answer and trying to game the system earlier in the thing. Sorry, JR, we still love you, but at least give everyone a chance before the trivia question is even answered. Boy, look how young Tony Stewart was on the left side on that one. But there you go. Tony Stewart, the answer to your trivia question. By the way, Gun Racing coming your way later this week on Thursday. Brennan Gunn and Jeff Motley back in action after a week off. All-Star race was last week. Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte, the longest race on the circuit, comes your way on Sunday. All right, you ready for whiteboards?
Here we go.
Here we go. Whiteboards here on a Tuesday, and we begin with Alex White trying to continue the win streak from yesterday.
All right, I'm starting on the ice. Panthers and Hurricanes. I'm going under that 5.5. Shop around, try and get the best price there. But two really good goalies going in this first game one. Reds minus 145. I'm going with the winning streak here with Cincinnati. Braves team total over 4.5. Phillies team total over 6.5. Fading both pitchers on the other side. And then I like the Tigers and the Cardinals under 4 in the first 5 innings. Two really good pitchers going in that one.
I like it. A lot of those I like that I didn't put on my board that I would definitely add if I had more room, but I don't have any room. So NBA, Minnesota, Oklahoma City. I did crunch my numbers, and my numbers say under. 218 is a pretty high number. These two are good offensively, but they're both really good defensive teams. So I'm staying under in game one. Carolina in the NHL minus $1.20. I think you're going to get a tired Florida team in this game. And I think that Carolina, we've got rated the highest team in the NHL, and they're playing at home. So if you look at it that way, they should be at least $1.45 favorite here. Major League Baseball, Diamondbacks plus $2 against the Dodgers. Rangers, Yankees over the 8.5. I think both pitchers get beat up. And then Detroit, St. Louis under the 4. Total agreement with Alex.
Here we go. Those are your whiteboards here on a Tuesday here on Sports by the Book. All right. There we go. Yeah, you know what? We're going to just...
How is...
There we go. Joey, go ahead and get hammered at noon on a...
what was Alex's record yesterday?
4 or 5, Alex.
5.
5-0.
5.
5-0.
Okay.
Totals.
It's always good.
I got to catch you for the week. You already got 5 winners.
Yeah.
It's always good. All right. Tomorrow on the show, we are back. We have more games to get to. Baseball, hockey, NBA, WNBA also has a full card on a Wednesday as well. So plenty to get to there. See if Alex can keep it rolling. See if Kenny can catch up
Yeah.
here this week
Sounds
on
good.
the show. Brian, Drew Dog, Vince, and thank you as always. Jerry, hope you're enjoying your week off. Sean, hope you're enjoying your day off. For Kenny, for Alex, I'm Jeff. We'll see you again tomorrow right here at 10 a.m. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.